Good evening, Spreckles Pirates, and welcome to our virtual open house. As you know, this isn't a traditional open house presentation, and I so look forward to next year when we can have a more traditional one. But for now, our teachers have put together a video for you to enjoy, to give you a little snippet of what it's been like since we've been back on campus and how the year has gone with all of our curriculum and activities. Thank you very much to our students who have been so resilient this year. Resilient needs to be a word we add to our positive character traits. They have shown that every single day. And I think also we need to emphasize our character trait empathy, because in this crazy world we're living right now, our students have been showing empathy for each other and for the adults around them on a daily basis. I hope to be more like them as I move forward. Also, I would like to thank our teachers for juggling such a crazy year and doing different jobs every day, from being virtual to being virtual and in person, and all those things they've had to do all along the way. They've just shored up, been strong, and done it, and I'm very proud of them. And to the parents and families, thank you so much for all of your support all year. I know it's been a very difficult year for you in so many ways, but giving the school the support you have made it much easier for us to carry on and do our very best. I look forward to seeing you all in person next year, but for now, please sit back and enjoy the virtual open house.
Hello and welcome to our open house. Thank you for joining me. It has been quite an adventurous year this year, but we still did a lot of great learning, and we all learned how to navigate technology that we had never navigated before, and some of that technology that we weren't even sure existed before. Some of the things that we did in class, we used these math learning tools. We have a number line, we have a multiplication chart, and we used a place value chart with our tens and ones. And the things that you see there in the ones, those little squares, those are for our base 10 blocks. We utilized this as we were learning how to regroup for addition and subtraction. Here are some samples of the math work that we have done in our class. We have some multiplication by twos. We have standard subtraction. We have subtraction with regrouping. And we have addition word problems. Some of our students are working on the multiplication. Some of our students are working on standard subtraction, and some students are working on regrouping with subtraction, and all of our students are working on addition word problems. And what you see in those word problems, we're using the cubes method. So we're circling the key numbers in the question. We are underlining the question in the problem. And we're putting boxes around our math action words. And each student has a math word bank for the action words that we are finding right now for addition, subtraction, and equals. And we are continuing to add to that word bank. And then we evaluate the question to see what numbers we need to pull out and what operation we are going to be doing. And the last step is to solve it. And you can see there the steps that each student went through. Here we have some of our reading and reading comprehension pieces. The list of pages that you see at the top, those are our compound words. So we are working on segmenting words. So if we have a word like cat, we're sounding it out k-a, so that we can hear each of the sounds as we then blend the word together to say k-at, cat. And we're expanding that into these larger 2-syllable compound words to expand our reading vocabularies. We're also working on affixes. So here you see some of the suffixes we've been working on for ing and ed. And so there we are taking the words and adding to it. So if it's called, we're then writing called, talk, talked. And then we're deciding when we have a sentence, did you blank all the popcorn? Should we be writing, did you eat all the popcorn, or did you eating? So making sure that we're picking the right affixes as we are doing our writing and speaking. We also have our reading comprehension, and here is just a small sample of a story we read, a small passage. And then we identified who the main characters were, what was the setting of the story, what was the main problem in the story. In addition, what were 2 key events that happened in the story, and then the solution to the problem. So we're really focusing on that main problem in the story, as well as talking about what the main idea is, and those key events will support our main idea. Here are our steps to writing a story. This is just a small sample. We start with our story planning worksheet. So we have a nice little story map where we talk about what our setting is and we write it down. We develop our characters and we write down what our problem for our story will be. And then we also think about what our solution is going to be and write that down and give our story a title. And then we move into our BLT paragraph sandwich. Here's where we really start to expand on those ideas that we came up with in the story map. So we're developing our topic sentence. We often use sentence frames to support the students with their writing. And then we have those 3 details in the middle. So we're going to be introducing our setting and our character and our problem, as well as writing about the solution to our problem. And then at the very end, we're going to conclude the whole story with our concluding sentence. And then for this story, we went ahead and we wrote out the story in full and drew a little picture to go along with our story. This is our SIPS program. So this is just what the instruction manual looks like from the outside. This is what we work on each day in class to expand our reading, and it helps our students learn how to sound out words, how to blend them together, the sight words that they need to know, and it builds up to reading sentences and then builds even more on that by reading stories. And we practice those words by writing, reading, and repeating so that we can get those words understood. And then when they show up in our stories, we can read them a little bit easier. For Earth Day, we did a pretty fun activity. We read some information about the Earth, we listened to a couple stories, and then we discussed different ways that we can make the Earth a better place. And these are the ideas that the students came up with on how they could make the Earth a better place. And here are just some more samples of what the students did. And then we did a fun little art project where they colored a piece of paper by letter, and when you are done coloring it, you fold it up like an accordion, and when you look at it from one side, you see one picture. When you look at it from the other side, you see another picture. And here's a video of what that looks like. So there's our Earth. There's the front view. And from the other side, we have our recycling sign. So that was a pretty interesting activity, and the kids really enjoyed doing that to celebrate Earth Day. This was a project we did in class where students had to follow directions for the colors and the shapes. We were working on those motor skills and also following directions. So it's kind of like a directed draw, but it was a directed painting. So we started with the big grassy green area, and then we added our mountains in, and then we added in our sky, and then the students were allowed to be a little more creative at this point with their flowers so that it looks kind of like a field of flowers that are blooming. Some students made large flowers, and some made small flowers, and some made trees. And this was a project that we did on our first day back to in-person learning. And we drew a pirate with our directed draw, and that was a lot of fun. So yay for Speckles Pirates! Thank you so much for watching the slideshow for our open house. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.